I'm going to have to ask you some current cricket questions, or rather on the current team. Merrick, what are your feelings of the state of the Proteas side at the moment? I mean, the one-day team that sort of pulled one out the fire recently, obviously turning a series around against England, but then going down in the Test series, which up until now has been their sort of strongest format.
Yeah, I think it all started when the guys went to India. That was the big and true test. The test matches that they played over there, we lost the whole series. It was a huge downer for the side, and to come back here, we thought that home series they'll pick themselves up, and it just didn't happen. And losing the test series against England is obviously a big disappointment for not just for the players, but management and staff and board, but it's for the whole of South Africa. We've been up there for so long, and Graham Smith, the leader he was, put us right at the top at number 1, and we were there for a long time. And we dropped down to 3 now, and we got better. We did well in the one days in India and the T20. We won them both, and we pulled the one out the fire in the ODIs now, the 50 over game, and we'll see what happens in the T20. But yeah, we seem to have a good side, and then we got a lot of injuries. Philando would have been a huge help in the Test matches, and Dale Steyn as well. So if those two can come back, and we've got 4 seamers up front, will they play all 4 in the next Test series? We don't know, but the firepower is there. So we just hope they can pull it back. It's going to take some time to rebuild again to back to number 1, but I think the Test side is okay. It was just going through a slump that every nation goes through.
And who's really impressed you out of this current crop of players?
Radaba's done well. Ever since he's come on the scene, he's just taking wickets all the time. I think they've got to be careful. They've got to preserve him because he's good in all formats. And you play Test cricket, and you're going to bowl 25 overs in a day, but Radaba's not bowling 25 overs, he's bowling more than that because of the way he's bowling. And you finish that Test series and you go into the ODIs, and he's bowling all 10 and 4 in the T20, so he's bowling a lot of overs. Yes, he's 20 and he's young, he's a professional, but guys today are playing so much cricket, and yeah, he's a great future for South Africa if he gets looked after properly, which I'm sure they will do. It's got to be careful of looking after him.
Dave, like Merrick says, the cricket calendar has become a lot more compact, and no doubt a lot of that has to do with the advent of T20 cricket, which wasn't really around in your day. What have you sort of observed in terms of the way the game has evolved and changed, and do you think it's a shame that there's sort of less Test cricket played?
Yeah, look, I mean, the rand dollar helps the players a lot. I think that's a big attraction for some of the players. We hear that certain players are pretty tired, or they need a bit of a break and that type of thing, and then you see they signed up for different IPL teams and big bashes and Pakistan leagues and all those type of things. So yeah, look, I think there needs to be a balance somewhere along the line. I think somewhere along the line the ICC need to take it and say, well, look here, we need to get together and say, look here, there's windows of opportunity, and like they do in the football when they have international weekends or international weeks or whatever it is, I think the ICC need to do that, and to get sort of players to, they have to try, unless they're completely retired from Test cricket, they have to play for their countries before they can qualify to play in these T20s, to try and make sure that they're actually playing more cricket for their countries, because that's where they're going to get a name, and that's where they're going to grow. And cricket in the world will only survive by doing that. Otherwise, everyone will retire and just play T20s, and I don't know if that's so good for the game at this stage.
My last question, speaking of T20, obviously you've got the World T20 in March, and we know about South Africa's sort of luck around ICC tournaments. I don't know if you can really gauge that in T20 cricket, because it can kind of go either way, but what do you think of South Africa's chances, first of all against England this next week, and then in the tournament in March?
Yeah, I think, look, finishing off now again the 3 one-day games, they've obviously got a momentum, and they've got some confidence in them, and the unit is there, so they might make 1 or 2 changes. So I think we sort of got the upper hand now going into these T20s against England, and then obviously a lot will depend how we do, but let's also say going to India that the conditions are going to be different, and a lot of our guys have played RPL cricket that are on that team. So I think that's going to stand them in good stead. They know the conditions, and let's hope guys like, I think very key in the team is going to be guys like Miller, the middle order, David Miller, that sort of the middle order, which will obviously have the impact over there. You know, we've got a really good side. So in T20 there is a little bit of luck. I know that, but I think with the experience that we have in India and the team that we've got out there, I think we've got a very good chance.
And as a former all-rounder, who's impressed you in this current crop of players? Of course, there'll be a long time to replace, I guess, someone like Jacques Kallis, but who's knocking on the door?
Yeah, I look at in the Test cricket, in the Test matches, there wasn't really. I mean, I think Bavuma obviously for me was, you know, we looked at him. We were waiting to see what he was going to do. He obviously came good here in Cape Town at Newlands, and he's really done well after it in a couple of games as well. So I was quite impressed with him. I think in the one days, I'd like to see how Wiese and Morris are going to develop as all-rounders. For me, that is quite key, and who's going to take that number 7 position, because I think the number 7 position needs to be more of a batting all-rounder, and number 8 needs to be more of a bowling all-rounder. And who's going to put up their hand to secure number 7 and number 8? For me, that's important going forward in the one-day games.